Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Kerry Magro, and I'm so excited to be here with all of you for part two of my talk on 15 things you should know about autism. And it's really important that we continue to have larger conversations about autism in our community. So we're going to get the PowerPoint started and then we will be good to go. Uh, so when we talk about these things, 15 things to consider when it comes to autism, there's so many things that are currently going on in our autism community. But I thought about just a few things that we could prioritize during the month of April, which is also Autism Acceptance Month, to help individuals within our communities. Next slide. So first off, like we shared with people last night, I was diagnosed with autism when I was 4. I was non-speaking till 2.5, diagnosed with autism at 4, and today am a full-time professionally certified public speaker. I am an avid note taker whenever I'm doing a presentation. So tonight, if you stay till the end, there will be a little QR code. In addition, we'll be taking question and answers. So feel free to write in the comments for the presentation. If you have any specific questions, and then we'll try to get to as many as we can. Joanne just said, okay, can't hang. Hope you guys are doing well. I hate missing these. Oh, it's okay, Joanne. Just make sure that you join when it comes out via the recording, so you get the PowerPoint slide notes. Next slide. So during my journey, I was telling people last night, just as an overview, that once I started talking, you couldn't get me to stop talking. I've been professionally speaking for the past 12 years, and I've written 4 books based on my autism journey, which are all available to check out on Amazon. Defining Autism from the Heart focuses on self-advocacy for those on the autism spectrum. Autism and Falling in Love focuses on relationships for those who are on the autism spectrum. I Will Light Up Blue is a children's book focused on twins who are on the autism spectrum. And then also Autistics on Autism is my most recent book, which came out a year ago, which focuses on 100 stories of individuals who pursued post-secondary education and what helped them growing up on the autism spectrum. Along the way, have had the opportunity to work on 7 films and TV shows to help bring a realistic portrayal of autism to our entertainment industry, including Joyful Noise, Jane Wants a Boyfriend, Mrs. Fletcher, and the Emmy Award-winning Netflix series Love on the Spectrum U.S. Season 1 in a consultant role. Next slide. Along the way, we are just so thrilled that season 2 of Love on the Spectrum got renewed. And Love on the Spectrum focuses on young individuals going about finding relationships and love. Next slide. Along the way, we've also had the opportunity to contribute to a wide range of books. College for students with disabilities, We Do Belong focuses on 17 individuals with disabilities trying to succeed in a post-secondary education. Life After Lockdown looks at how we can navigate life after a lockdown in our autism community. As Sing Child Grows Up focuses on sensory processing challenges, and then Love What Matters just has some incredible stories of people not only with autism, but a wide range of differences. Next slide. One of my passion projects is I'm a full-time public speaker. I speak about 100 times a year, and during April, we have 36 talks, mostly with schools, businesses, in addition to government organizations, to continue to focus on diversity, equity, inclusion. And if you know of any businesses that are potentially looking for a lunch and learn speaker to understand a little bit more about our autism community, definitely let us know after tonight's presentation. But one of the things that I do in my spare time, where I don't take a salary for this, is I started a nonprofit organization that provides peer mentoring, scholarships for autistic students to go to college, and small business grants for small businesses that hire people with disabilities. And ironically enough, our book featured 100 of our previous scholarship applicants and their stories. Next slide. Along the way, we've also done first responder trainings to help first responders understand how to interact with the autism community. We see that wandering is still a huge issue in our community, with around 49% of autistic children wandering from a safe environment and go missing as a result. Next slide. My roles today, I wear many hats in the autism community, but some of the ones that I'm most proud of are on this list right here. I won't go into too much detail, but I received my speaking accreditation from the National Speakers Association when I was pursuing my master's in strategic communications from Seton Hall University. I'm now based in Hoboken, New Jersey, and received my doctorate in education. So hopefully one day I can become an educator at the college level to teach about our very special community. Next slide. And while we wait to get to the next slide, I'll also say that we've had the opportunity to work on the first season of The Good Doctor, focused on Dr. Sean Murphy, a surgeon who's on the autism spectrum, and then also Atypical, which is focused on Sam Garner, a 18-year-old with autism, trying to find love while also going about a post-secondary program. So when we get to the next slide, one of the things we'll probably discuss is the number 8 on the 15 things that you should consider when it comes to autism. So we'll have that going up in just a second. And you have to love tech. We live in a very tech-savvy world, but I don't know how many of you during the COVID-19 pandemic, between Zoom and all these different techs, Google Hangouts, WebEx, all these challenges are associated at one point or another. So we will get that PowerPoint going momentarily. But as we're talking, I mean, some of the things that would have really helped when I was growing up is really having there we go, Autism Acceptance Month. Because really, even though Autism Awareness Month started in 1970 via the Autism Society of America, I never grew up with an Autism Awareness Month in my schools, and I think that would have helped a lot in terms of the whole topic of inclusion. One message we shared with people last night is that it's really important that we normalize that disability has no look as well, because there's some individuals like myself who have an invisible disability, but just because we have an invisible disability doesn't mean that we don't necessarily go through everyday challenges that some individuals just simply don't see. Next slide. So with this, one of the areas that I hope we can talk about is we talk often about self-advocates, but one area that I would love to see more is siblings becoming advocates in our community. So one individual we got to highlight was a young autistic boy named JJ, and this is his story shared with the help of his 2 sisters. I hope you enjoy. You have 2 sisters, Rachel?
Both sisters.
Both sisters. JJ, what do you like to do for fun?
Oh. I love checking on movies. TV shows.
His personality is amazing. He's so funny. He doesn't even know it. Like, he doesn't know how funny he is, which makes it better.
I love how JJ makes these movies, and he uses the stuffed animals, and he shows us to all of us, and I think it's really cool.
What is one of your favorite things about your sister?
What do you like about me?
JJ's lights out with Katie.
Yeah, okay, yeah. What do you like about me?
Yes.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
What do you like?
Television.
Okay.
I don't like how people treat autistic kids different because they're exactly like us. They have feelings too, and they act like autistic kids don't have feelings.
How does it make you feel?
It makes me really upset how people do that.
Yeah. For siblings who might be watching this at home, what would you like them to know if they may have a brother or sister who's on the autism spectrum?
Celebrate accomplishments, encourage them to do the best that they can. We have a good family.
Yeah.
Everyone's supportive. It's just a circle of love.
Hey everyone, this is Kerry from A Special Community. If you like one of the reasons why I love their story is because siblings play such a huge role. And I believe that we should tell all self advocates about their diagnosis as early as 5 years old when they're starting school, even if they're not developmentally there to necessarily have those conversations yet. It can really, really help because I didn't find out about my autism diagnosis until I was 11. And it was so life changing for years knowing I was special, but not knowing what that meant. And for siblings, they could be potentially become advocates by also understanding a little bit more about their siblings' journeys as well. Along the way, I think during the month of April, the opportunity to provide more sensory friendly events can be of benefit, especially as we see one of the biggest struggles within the autism community, in addition to social and communication challenges, is sensory processing issues. So we met this incredible pastor who is doing a very cool initiative that we wanted to give him a platform to share a little bit more about. There are going to be people who watch this who have never met you before. How would you like to introduce yourself to those people?
My name is Father Matthew Schneider, and I am a priest who was diagnosed with autism back in 2016. And I really want to help people with autism to enter into the church, to be accepted.
When were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed in 2016. I had already been ordained a priest. One of my first assignments was chaplain at a school, and I kind of couldn't pick up on the emotions well of all the kids, and it really wasn't a good situation. It really wasn't the right situation. But it also, fortunately, I think, in a way of a blessing, led to that diagnosis because after I stopped about a year later, they suggested, and then about a year later, I was diagnosed. Current responsibility is writing a doctoral thesis in moral theology.
Awesome. How's that going so far?
Well, I just started like the 1st of July. So, well, I think at least in our Catholic churches, we often have what traditionally built as cry rooms for when the babies cried at the back of the churches. And some Protestant churches have the same things. And what a number of parishes have done, which I think is really helpful for those who are having meltdowns over sensory issues, is that they'll basically use it as like a reverse cry room, where those who need a low sensory environment, they'll be in the back with a glass window between them and the main part. The lights are down there, the volume on the speakers down there, so the sensory experience doesn't overwhelm. And I think that's a great opportunity. I know of at least 3 or 4 parishes in New York, Georgia, Maryland who do that.
What is something you should not say to someone with autism?
I would say that one of the things that so often can offend us is just kind of say statements that assume that we also have comorbid intellectual disabilities. I think that a lot of times people assume that, and it is common among autists to have the comorbid intellectual disabilities, but a large portion of us don't.
Whenever I make a new friend, I ask them, what are some of your hobbies?
Probably my biggest one, beyond writing theology and which is my doctorate and online stuff, is I cycle a lot. I probably cycle about 75 miles a week.
Nice.
And I do that, so I do that quite a bit. But then, that's probably the biggest hobby I have.
Awesome. What's something you wish people knew about autism?
I think a lot of times what people need to know is the specific ways autistics think a little bit, so that you know how to relate, in the sense that we tend to be very literal thinkers. And so we can get sarcasm, like somebody else was saying, but sometimes we're too gullible, and somebody's, sometimes a lot of times what bothers me is when people I know will try and lead me along the garden path for 5 minutes, and then I realize, oh, they're just joking. And that is a really frustrating thing as an autistic.
Yeah. So I absolutely love his story, and I had to take a moment to kind of think about just his overall journey, because it's so interesting because we have a pastor who his name is Lamar Hardwick, and he's also known as the autistic pastor. So ironically enough, there are several individuals who have gone about that as a potential career, which is really, really interesting. Carl, thanks so much for saying I'm very glad to see a priest on this program. Next slide. And then one of the other areas that I hope we can have larger conversations about is that 1 in 5 students are currently a victim of bullying today. And one of the leading epidemics I currently see in our schools is bullying. And 1 in 10 students drop out of school in our public school sector because of reoccurring bullying. So when we talk about the topic that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, words do have power, and they can have lasting challenges in some individuals. So we met this individual named Kristen, who unfortunately was bullied, and wanted a platform to share a little bit about that. So I hope you enjoy your video. So what would you like for people at home to know about you?
That I've been through a lot, and if you just give me a chance, you know, I'm a very bright, talented, pretty cool person. I'm a painter, I'm a writer, and I've written a couple books, and I like to do some acting. I'm very multi-talented. I also like to make music. Actually, I could say my greatest accomplishment was pushing through. Because of the bullying, I have a lot of depression that I've actually, can I say, I've tried to commit suicide many times, and something in my mind, I don't know, just tells me that it's gonna get better, and then I'm gonna be something one day, you know, and
You are going to be something one day. You're something right now.
I don't feel that way.
But you do amazing art. You know, you've kind of like flourished. I mean, you got the punk rock thing still coming on too. I mean, you do have things going on in your life, and I was a victim of bullying too. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that.
It's quite often, you know. I've tried to rack my brains around it, and it's just, I think one of the biggest things is that I'm just alone all the time. You know, I don't have a group of friends, and I get attacked in public by people. You know, I'm a very easy target, and this happened my whole life, and it happens so often. I'm almost afraid to leave my house. You know.
I just want you to know, it's like there are people out there in our community who want to be your friend. From people such as myself who, friends with countless self-advocates and just friends with people, there are people out there in our community who want to be your friend. And I hope you never forget that. I know it sucks. Bullying's terrible. And no one should ever bully anyone, but you know.
Well, one of the problems I have is trust. You know, it used to be I didn't understand jealousy until my early 20s. I didn't have that comprehension of understanding that emotion at all. Like I said, it was very black and white. You're either smiling and you're happy, or you're you're frowning and you're mad at me. And you know, I didn't understand that sometimes people can be conniving and be smiling at you, you know.
Yep.
They have malicious intentions, but they'll be smiling at you. And I've got taken advantage of and massively abused because I didn't understand it. And I kind of almost fear the world now because of it. And it's taken a toll on me.
Is there any like final thought that you would like to leave for people at home about your story?
really take the time out of your lives to appreciate what you have every day. Find some inner peace in your mind to truly love and accept yourself in a world that has a lack of love and acceptance. And try to find, I know it can be hard, in a world that it wants to segregate everybody,
Yeah.
but and it's hard to find the right group of people. But I definitely say hanging around loving, positive individuals would be a good thing.
And acceptance is key.
Yeah, acceptance is key. That's actually one of my philosophies.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Story, because it's really, really important as we continue to have conversations around this topic of bullying, is that we hear from individuals' first-person perspectives of their specific challenges. So I absolutely adore her for being so brave to share that story. And one of the things about her story is that the second leading cause of death between individuals between the age of 10 to 34 is suicide. And sometimes I don't hear a lot about this topic because a lot of people think it's taboo and they think it's a sensitive topic. And even with the sensitivity, this is happening in our communities. And by speaking up about it, I hope that we can make positive change. One of the things that was really amazing was before COVID, we were speaking at a high school, and one of the kids came up to me afterwards and said that they would never bully anyone again after seeing Kristen's video, knowing the lasting challenges that it had. And if I never get another speaking engagement for the rest of my life, to have that moment, to hear that just sitting down with Kristen for a few minutes to share her story could have helped a potential new kid not be bullied anymore, it would make my entire career. So next slide, please. So we also need to have larger conversations with families who might be on the autism spectrum, because one of the areas of concern is that genetics, while we know that in the CDC is 1 in 36, we're realizing that awareness and services are two of the biggest factors of the increase in prevalence, but genetics also play a part. And one of the stories that reminds me of this is with a young self-advocate named Bridget, who's pretty well known within the autism world. And this is a little bit about her story. When did you first realize that you wanted to spit fire?
When someone
so cool.
when someone said, "Do you want to learn how to breathe fire?" and I said, "That's an option, yes." And I learned, and I didn't breathe fire for the first year that I learned how to do it. I just didn't want to. And then after about a year, I decided to throw myself into it, and now I'm really known for breathing fire, both metaphorically in advocacy work, and quite literally, I make things go poof. I was officially diagnosed around the time that I got the traumatic brain injury. It was 16. My brother had been diagnosed beforehand. There was a very public news case about it too. That's how I ended up first being involved with the Autism Society of America. But my first provider said that he had never met a woman on the spectrum, and I didn't look like the textbook case, so I was PDD, NOS.
Was there ever any early signs that your parents were like, maybe?
Well, my entire family is autistic, so growing up, all the other parents were like, well, Bridget, she lines up all her toys in order. Like, why doesn't Claire do that? It's so nice and organized. I had stuffed animals that had their own personality, and we had to hide shoe boxes from me because I would build them little houses, and my entire room, you couldn't walk in. All of the major check marks and stuff were there. I didn't have peers my own age. They were my mom's friends, because 8-year-olds who can talk about Monet and really advanced concept are kind of at that creepy level of horror movie kid where you're like, I want to keep my eye on them.
What is a misconception you see out there in the autism community that you would like to see debunked?
I think one of the biggest miscommunications that I see are individuals who are deemed quote quote higher functioning, that they require less services. And what that really means is if you are spending the extra energy to communicate, or as women on the spectrum, it's called camouflaging. So we blend into our surroundings, but that's not who we are. It's putting on the mask. And I have parents who are like, well, you're not like my child. And I'm like, in this environment, I put on a disguise. I learned my social skills from a British TV show called Absolutely Fabulous and watching the Muppets. So like, this is acting, but at home, I can go days without talking to people, brushing my hair, like the stuff that other people deem part of their normal experience. When I'm behind closed doors and with the people that I really trust, there's no question that I'm on the autism spectrum. I think one of the greatest things about me is the resilience. I've been knocked down so many times. My life is like a Lifetime movie, except like I don't even think it would be on that channel because it's that level. But I just, instead of having the fire harden me, I prefer to embrace life with a sense of humor and kindness. And I will always answer the same 5 million questions that parents and other professionals ask, because it's important. And not everyone knows the same things that we do. And I will take on that role to educate people and to be the big sister for others in the community.
Awesome. Following her at some point because
everyone,
she has
this is
so
Kerry
many
from
amazing,
Spectrum
incredible
Community.
things about
If you
her
like this
that
video,
definitely
check out our
deserve
channel for
to
more
be heard a
videos
little
of
bit
people
more.
impacted by a
Next slide,
diagnosis.
please.
You can also subscribe and
And then one other area that we see a lot in our autism community is the importance of highlighting non-speaking autism. I was speaking at a college today and for their Autism Acceptance Month event, and we talked about the fact that those who might not be able to speak are still listening, and those who are non-speaking doesn't mean that they're not necessarily unintelligent. So one individual who's a great example of this, and the whole idea of this is really what I want parents to understand, is that I get so many questions of parents who are asking me, will my child ever talk? But I want to change the narrative, and I want to talk about how can we get that child to communicate. So Justice is a great example of somebody who does not speak, but communicates in other ways that I wanted to highlight with all of you tonight.
Justice, you're a good looking dude, by the way. Just saying. What, if you don't mind me asking, what is that device that you have?
Toby Churchill.
Churchill. Toby Light.
Light Rider.
Toby Light Rider. Good job.
Toby Light Rider. That's so cool. Do you like your Toby Light Rider? What's like the best thing about your Toby Light Rider?
Love.
You love it.
Nice, man. What would you like for people to know about having autism?
What do you want people to know about you? Think it? Need help? Sometimes you need help.
I need help.
If there was one word you had to say to describe Justice, what do you think that would be?
I'd say sweetheart. Yeah. You're always so sweet. Yeah. Like that. Most of the time you're sweet.
Justice, what do you like to do for fun?
TV.
Oh, nice. What's your favorite show?
Paw Patrol.
I feel like a lot of people, when they see children or individuals who are nonverbal, they assume they have a low IQ, and so that's not always the situation. You know, our kids are really smart, and they have a lot to say. Just because they're nonverbal, we just have to find a way for them to say that.
What is like a main goal you have for Justice in the future? Obviously, he's learning tap to talk.
Question.
Well, right now we are working on him asking questions for clarification. So,
You.
and we're working on some spelling words. But yeah, my main goal is just for
Sure.
Justice to be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, my main goal is just for Justice to be able to communicate everything he wants to say. You know, I want him to be able to ask any question he can think of, and I want him to, I want you to be able to describe, and I want you to be able to create really long sentences that you want to create, and I want you to do everything you can. Sound good? But yeah, right now our short-term goals are asking questions right now so he can get some clarification and understand a little more.
What is something that you would like to do in the future? Minus being a ladies' man. Yeah. Would you like to find a job one day? Yeah?
Job.
Where do you want to work? You don't know? I thought you'd say coffee place.
Do you like coffee?
Yeah.
What type of coffee?
Hot chocolate.
Oh, see, there we go. We get way past the coffee and just go to hot chocolate, ladies and gentlemen.
So I absolutely love Justice as well. And one of the things you should know, especially in our community, is that 40% of all autistic children are either non-speaking or non-verbal. So when we talk about ways of helping them communicate, we have to look at things like picture exchange communication systems. We need to look at Toby light writers, like Justice was mentioning. We need to look at devices like iPads that have a text-to-speech device. And there are other means. So we definitely need to weigh those options, especially if somebody potentially has the ability to focus a lot of their time on technology and sees that as a key interest. It could be a potential avenue. Next slide. And we need to teach the way they learn. Autism is a lifelong diagnosis, and regardless if somebody's in school or not, the importance of meeting every single individual where they are cannot be overstated. So this is a great example of that I wanted to share with all of you.
Because I remember when I was growing up on the autism spectrum, I dealt with multiple symptoms too. I was nonverbal until I was 3. Actually, like you said you didn't say any words until you were 3, right?
Yeah, I didn't say any words until I was like 3 and a half, 4. And then I was saying like baby words and pointing a lot.
Yeah, I was pointing a lot at that age. And then I didn't start speaking complete sentences until I was like 7 years old too, which was really, really late. What would you like people at home to know about autism?
There are various different types of autism, and there are, I think mine is Asperger's. And there are other types which might not allow you to talk, or sometimes may communicate but very oddly, or maybe just not talk at all, not be able to have the communication skills.
What was one misconception you see out there in the autism community that you would like to see debunked?
I guess a lot of misconceptions. My biggest one is, again, it's the behavior. Don't turn around and judge someone before you understand what's actually going on.
For the teachers, if any other kids are new to the school and they come in like 7th or 8th grade, or maybe even late 6th grade, and if they have autism, allow them to be free. Let them tell you what they need, and yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like for us to know about you or Eric's story?
Patience, lots and lots of patience, and definitely schedules, because if you change the schedule, it can send him off onto a different direction, or he get very upset over something that's going on.
Therapists, if any of you therapists go to their house, let them go for a walk around a few blocks.
I like it. Thanks, man. You're a rock star.
Hey everyone, this is Kerry from a special community.
Yes,
If you
and
like this
please
video,
do not
check out
follow
our
me.
channel for
You
more
never
videos.
have to follow me after seeing this that little message at the end. So in addition to that, I love his story for so many reasons, but one of the interesting things about his story is that we got the opportunity to also highlight JJ when we went to the school to give an assembly to not only K through 8 students, but also 9 through 12. So that was really great. In the next slide, I also want us as a society to avoid judging around what's age appropriate. For example, I'm 35 years old. I still watch Space Jam. And a lot of people say to me, it's like, Kerry, isn't that a little young for you? And if something makes an individual happy in our society, I think we should go with it, especially if it's not hurting them or anybody else. And I met this great young man who loves Disney. His name is Connor. And this is a little bit about his story. Connor, how old are you?
I'm 27.
Nice. And when were you diagnosed?
At the age of 2.
Connor, when I make a new friend, one of the things I like to first ask them is, what do you like to do for fun? So, can I ask you what you like to do for fun?
Oh, sure. I like to have fun by exercising and doing photography and ice skating.
Nice. When did you start liking Disney?
Since I was little.
Awesome.
Ever since.
Who's your favorite Disney character?
Mickey Mouse.
And is that Mickey? Actually, that is Mickey on there. I thought it was Minnie for a second, but it's actually Mickey. Is that one of your favorite hats to wear?
Yes.
When he was little and in school, and they were saying that all the things that he would never do, which so many parents can relate to, you know, the never pass a 5th grade level, never speak, and he didn't speak until he was 7, and then he just keeps accomplishing things, and he's so proud of who he is that he's like a shining light to everyone, and I couldn't be more proud.
My hopes and goals for the future are passing my law in other states.
What else?
And being an advocate between Disney and the autistic world.
I get this a lot because I have autism. What is it like to live with your diagnosis?
I think living with autism for me makes me a special person and unique person.
Connor, what is one misconception you see out there in the autism community that you would like to see debunked? For example, one thing that I get a lot as somebody on the autism spectrum is, you have autism, you don't look like you have autism. People feel like autism is looked at in certain ways. What is one misconception you wish people would stop?
My misconception for people to stop is people telling you you're different.
Yeah, it's true. Different, not less, right?
Right.
Is there anything else you would like for people at home to know about you?
Yes. So, I just wanted to say that parents need to love their children no matter what. And even because of a diagnosis, because if they don't, it would be bad for them. Please support and love your child.
Awesome. And does your mom love and support you?
Yes, she does.
Awesome. So does my mom. Hi, Mom.
Hey everyone, this is Kerry from a special
I love Connor's story. Connor is phenomenal. And Connor has a lot of just happiness in his life. And I think that's something that recedes whenever you hear him speak. And I hope that did for anyone who has joined us tonight. And if somebody likes something, regardless if it's age appropriate or not, I think we should continue to encourage that individual to enjoy simply what they want to enjoy. So avoiding those quote unquote age appropriate protocols. And finally, we can do things other than STEM jobs. When we look at autism as a whole, I want you to know that some individuals on the autism spectrum are going to think outside of the box. They're not going to fit the mold of this STEM related jobs. Like, for example, a lot of individuals think because of STEM jobs being one-on-one, that's the only thing that autistic people can do. And there are some individuals like this young man named Chase, who's doing something actually quite different from the STEM related fields. We're talking about the science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And he's doing pretty well for himself, if you ask me. So here's a little bit about Chase. What would you like the world to know about you?
Well, I'd like them to know that I am autistic and that I have lots of ideas about creating my own book series called The Letter Critters, and they teach the alphabet to young readers. And they're these cute little animal characters.
That is awesome. So how did you come up with the idea for this? And when did your first book come out? How many books have you written so far? Tell me about that.
Okay, well, I was just drawing some things that came to mind when I was watching some certain shows, and they just came into my head, and I was just trying to see if I could draw like every single letter of the alphabet based on what I watched. And my mom saw my drawings, and she gave me the idea to make it into a book, and I took her suggestion, and I released my first book on May 2017. And right now I have 3 books. The other 2 are the Letter Critter Biographies and the Letter Critters Talent Show.
Something that you wish people would not say about people who are on the autism spectrum?
Okay, I would like them to not say that those people are weird.
Especially in the future, what are some goals for yourself, minus the books and the letter critters? Would you like to live independently? What are some things that you hope to do in the future for yourself, and now as you're a rising adult?
Okay, let's see. Well, I guess I would like try to like cook some more if I have more free time, and try to like make myself exercise, and also hopefully get some my favorite voice actors to voice my characters for a future cartoon about my letter critters.
What is one misconception you currently see out there in the disability community that you wish was debunked?
That disabled people can't do anything on their own. Is that something that exists, or that there is something the matter with them?
Say was one of your biggest challenges growing up on the spectrum, and up to this point in your life, what would you consider one of your greatest successes?
Okay, I would say the toughest part was trying to like be social around other people. I'm usually quiet and introverted, but I do have some friends that are online that I communicate with, and I'd say my best accomplishment was having to be an author.
So, again, Chase, I really hope he does some incredible things in this world. But one of the things that I hope that you take away from Chase's video is the importance of highlighting the fact that some individuals can be capable of things that are not considered quote unquote within the specific stigma of autism related jobs. Next slide. So finally, these were just 10 things that helped me during my journey, just as a conclusion and recap of some of the things I mentioned yesterday, and things that I hope will help you, regardless if you're an educator, a therapist, a parent, or somebody who just wants to learn more about our autism community. First thing is that we need to do a better job of providing transitional services for those who are on the autism spectrum. One way that we could do that is by making sure that all IEPs are for individuals who are going into high school, who are 14, some state 16, are receiving some form of transitional services. The other thing is role playing. We need to do, this is an area that I think helps a lot, especially when we talk about structure, because so many autistic people rely on structure. Servant leadership, thinking with the end in mind, especially for those who have mind blindness, being able to think and being able to look at the hardships that some people face can be really helpful for them to understand the world a little bit better. Learning from other self-advocates and peer mentoring go hand in hand. I think that the opportunity for individuals to have a strong peer mentor not only helps build on social skills, but it's been shown to prevent things like bullying. I always say don't recreate the wheel when it comes to therapies, but I have seen some benefits in our community with cognitive behavioral therapy. Just because of the aspect of turning negative thoughts and trying to go to positive behaviors. Again, the spectrum is wide. It's not going to work for everybody, but it's something that you may want to consider. Self-reflection, thinking with the end in mind, but also helping individuals who want to become self-advocates build on self-awareness for themselves can be really helpful via things like journal therapy. Physical activity, 30 minutes of walking, just walking a day, can have really great benefits on short-term and long-term retention, in addition to releasing positive endorphins. Finding support networks, the Autism Society of America at autismsociety.org have 60 affiliate chapters throughout the United States. So if you're looking to build on your village, I would definitely recommend them. And then finally, writing a blog, because regardless of where you are in our community right now, whether you're a parent with a newly diagnosed child or you've been in this community for decades now, it's all upon us to use this movement that we have in the digital world to make effective change for one of the largest minorities in the United States today. Next slide. So again, I never assumed this would be my life, but now I like to say autism can't define me, and I define autism. And I can only hope that all of you who are joining us can go out there and define your lives and your journeys in the way that you best see it every single day. And if you need any help getting started, next slide. These are the ways that you can stay in contact with me after tonight's presentation. Again, my name is Dr. Kerry Magro. I thank you all so much for being a wonderful audience. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I would love to answer any questions at the end that I can. So feel free to write them in the comment box, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. For housekeeping notes, these are the ways that you can stay in contact with me after tonight's presentation. In addition to that, you could scan the QR code if you would like the PowerPoint slide notes from tonight's presentation. Thank you all again so much for having me.